Hello. Do you feel that constant worry that something in your diet, even something you consider healthy, may be harming your health? Have you ever wondered if the foods you eat every day could be silently increasing your risk of stroke? It's distressing to think that we may be doing something harmful without even knowing it, isn't it? Especially when we are over 60 and every decision about our health seems to carry even more weight. Today, I'm going to share with you a surprising discovery about an extremely common fruit that may be in your kitchen right now, and which recent research has linked to an increased risk of stroke in women in our age group. Stay with me until the end, because in addition to revealing what this fruit is, I'll show you natural and safe alternatives to protect your brain and cardiovascular health in a way that is effective and appropriate for your mature and wise body. Many women like us are shocked to discover that something so simple and seemingly healthy can pose such a significant risk. Most importantly, I will explain exactly why this happens and what you can do to protect yourself without the need for strong medications or invasive treatments. The issue of strokes in women over 60 has become increasingly concerning in recent years. Did you know that we women have unique risk factors that men do not face? Hormonal changes after menopause significantly alter our cardiovascular and brain health. Our blood vessels become less flexible, blood pressure tends to rise, and our bodies process certain nutrients differently. It's as if our bodies are speaking a new language, and we need to learn to interpret it wisely and respectfully. Many of us have spent decades taking care of everyone around us, children, grandchildren, partners, friends, while our own health took a back seat. Now is the time to reverse that order and make our health a priority. The knowledge I am going to share today can literally save your life, and the way you eat from now on can be decisive for your quality of life in the coming years. Before revealing which common fruit may be increasing your risk of stroke, I want to explain a little about how this health problem occurs. A stroke happens when the blood supply to a part of the brain is interrupted or reduced, preventing brain tissue from receiving oxygen and nutrients. Within minutes, brain cells begin to die. It is an extremely serious event that can leave permanent sequelae or even be fatal. And the scariest thing is that often the warning signs are right in front of us in our daily diet, but we fail to recognize them because the information does not reach us clearly and directly. It's as if we were navigating a sea of confusing, often contradictory recommendations that are not always suited to our mature bodies. You may have noticed that many nutritional guidelines are generic, as if all people of all ages had the same needs. This is far from the truth, isn't it? Do you feel that tingling sensation in your extremities after eating certain fruits? Or do you notice that your blood pressure seems more difficult to control at certain times, even without changes in medication? Often, our own bodies send us subtle signals that we are unable to interpret properly. I would love to hear about your personal experience. Share in the comments by writing, "I feel changes in my blood pressure when I eat certain foods," or "I never noticed a relationship between my diet and my cardiovascular health." Your comment can help other women pay more attention to the signals their bodies are sending. Sometimes, knowing that other people are going through the same thing as you brings great relief and makes us pay more attention to important details that previously went unnoticed. Now, let's get to the point you've been waiting for. What is this common fruit that can increase the risk of stroke in women over 60? I'm talking about bananas, especially when consumed in excess. Surprising, isn't it? Bananas are generally considered a healthy fruit, rich in potassium, vitamins, and fiber. And indeed, for many people, they offer several benefits. However, for us mature women, especially those predisposed to cardiovascular or kidney problems, excessive consumption of bananas can pose a significant risk. This is mainly due to the high potassium content in this fruit. Under normal conditions, potassium is essential for heart and muscle health. However, when our kidneys, which naturally lose some of their efficiency with age, are unable to properly process this mineral, it can accumulate in the blood, leading to a condition called hyperkalemia. Hyperkalemia can cause cardiac arrhythmias and significantly increase the risk of stroke. But don't panic. I'm not saying you need to completely eliminate bananas from your diet. The key is balance and understanding your body's specific needs. If you have preserved kidney function and no history of cardiovascular problems, you can probably consume bananas in moderation. However, if you have a history of high blood pressure, kidney failure, diabetes, or take certain medications such as potassium-sparing diuretics or angiotensin-converting enzyme inhibitors, commonly prescribed for hypertension, it is important to be careful with your consumption of this fruit and consult your doctor for personalized guidance. What saddens me is realizing how many of us receive generic nutritional advice that does not take into account the metabolic changes that occur in our bodies after age 60. It is as if we are invisible to the traditional medical community, which often focuses on prescribing medications rather than offering appropriate and age-specific nutritional guidance. You deserve better than that. You deserve accurate, personalized information that respects the wisdom and experience of your mature body. Now, let's talk about the alternatives. Which fruits can we safely consume that even help protect our brain and cardiovascular health? Apples are excellent choices, rich in quercetin, a flavonoid with powerful anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties that help protect blood vessels. Red fruits, such as strawberries, blueberries, and raspberries, are true treasures for our brain health. They contain anthocyanins, compounds that cross the blood-brain barrier and combat oxidative stress in the brain, in addition to improving communication between neurons. A study of women over 70 showed that those who regularly consumed red fruits had slower cognitive decline, which is wonderful news for all of us. Oranges and tangerines are also excellent choices. Rich in citrus flavonoids and vitamin C, they help strengthen blood vessels and reduce inflammation. A glass of fresh orange juice in the morning can be a valuable addition to your diet. But remember, always opt for fresh juice, without added sugars. Avocados, although technically a fruit, deserve special mention. Rich in healthy monounsaturated fats, potassium in moderate amounts, and vitamin E, avocados help reduce bad cholesterol, LDL, and increase good cholesterol, HDL, contributing to cardiovascular health. A quarter of an avocado a day can do wonders for your health, especially when it replaces less healthy fats in your diet. In addition to fruits, I want to share with you some herbs and spices that have been shown to be particularly beneficial for the brain and cardiovascular health of women in our age group. Rosemary, for example, contains compounds that improve blood circulation to the brain and have powerful antioxidant properties. You can use it to season your meals or even prepare a relaxing tea. Turmeric, with its active component curcumin, is one of the most studied spices when it comes to brain health. It crosses the blood-brain barrier and has been shown to have remarkable effects in reducing brain inflammation and even preventing the accumulation of plaques associated with neurodegenerative diseases. A pinch of turmeric in your rice, soups, or teas can be a daily gift to your brain. Ginger is another powerful ally. It improves blood circulation, has anti-inflammatory properties, and can help lower blood pressure. A cup of ginger tea in the morning not only warms and comforts you, but also offers valuable protection for your cardiovascular system. Cinnamon, besides being delicious, helps regulate blood sugar levels, which is especially important for preventing damage to blood vessels caused by glucose spikes. A pinch of cinnamon in your breakfast can make a big difference over time. One of the questions I get asked most often is how to incorporate these protective foods into our daily routine in a practical way. After all, many of us have busy lives, take care of grandchildren, participate in community activities, or even continue to work. We don't want to spend hours in the kitchen preparing complicated meals. The good news is that we can create simple and practical habits that bring great benefits. For example, you can prepare a mixture of frozen berries, half an apple, and a little water or plant-based milk for a quick and nutritious smoothie in the morning. Add a pinch of cinnamon and a small portion of oats for a complete breakfast that protects your heart and brain. Another practical tip is to prepare a cold infusion of protective herbs. Place a few rosemary leaves, a small piece of ginger, and a little orange peel in a jar with water and leave it in the refrigerator overnight. In the morning, you will have a refreshing and medicinal drink to consume throughout the day. This simple practice can bring significant benefits to your vascular and brain health. Best of all, You only need to prepare it once to enjoy it throughout the day. I also recommend getting into the habit of adding fresh herbs to your meals. A handful of parsley, cilantro, or basil not only enriches the flavor of your food, but also adds valuable nutrients that protect your blood vessels and brain. You can grow these herbs in small pots in your kitchen, even if you have limited space. There is something deeply satisfying about harvesting your own fresh herbs to use in meals, not to mention that it is a therapeutic activity that stimulates the mind. A simple meal that combines several protective foods would be a salad of dark leafy greens, such as spinach or arugula, with pieces of apple, some berries, a quarter of an avocado, and pumpkin or sunflower seeds. Drizzle with extra virgin olive oil, a little fresh lemon juice, and a pinch of turmeric and black pepper. The piperine in black pepper increases the absorption of curcumin. This simple meal provides a burst of protective nutrients for your cardiovascular and brain systems. In addition to diet, we must not forget the importance of adequate hydration for brain and cardiovascular health. With age, our sense of thirst diminishes, and many of us do not consume enough water. Dehydration, even mild, can increase the risk of blood clots and make it difficult for the body to eliminate toxins. A practical tip is to keep a bottle of water always visible and within reach. You can also add cucumber slices, mint leaves, or pieces of citrus fruit to add flavor and make drinking water more enjoyable. Regular movement is also crucial for the health of blood vessels and the brain. I'm not talking about intense or exhausting exercise, but rather consistent movement that is appropriate for your physical condition. A daily 20 to 30-minute walk, for example, can significantly improve blood circulation and reduce the risk of stroke. The ideal is to find an activity that you really enjoy so that it becomes a pleasurable habit and not an obligation. It can be dancing, swimming, yoga, tai chi, or simply walking in a park near your home. The important thing is to keep moving regularly. I want to share with you the inspiring story of a dear friend. At age 67, she discovered she had high blood pressure and that her risk of stroke was increased. Instead of just accepting the medication prescribed by her doctor, she decided to completely transform her diet and lifestyle. She drastically reduced her consumption of processed foods and salt, increased her intake of protective fruits and vegetables, and started practicing yoga 3 times a week. Within 6 months, her blood pressure had normalized to the point that her doctor reduced her medication dosage. Today, at 72, she is healthier and more energetic than many women 20 years her junior. Her story shows me that it is never too late to make significant changes and reap the benefits. Another important issue we need to address is chronic stress and its devastating impact on cardiovascular and brain health. Prolonged stress increases cortisol levels in the body, which can raise blood pressure, increase inflammation, and damage blood vessels over time. At our age, many of us face unique stressors, such as health concerns, financial issues related to retirement, or even the responsibility of caring for sick partners or family members. Finding effective ways to manage this stress is critical to protecting our brain and cardiovascular health. Relaxation practices such as meditation, mindful breathing, or even daily moments of silence and contemplation can make a significant difference in stress levels. You don't have to meditate for hours. Even 5 to 10 minutes of mindful breathing each day can help calm the nervous system and reduce cortisol levels. Another valuable practice is mindful gratitude. Taking a few minutes each morning or evening to reflect on things you are grateful for can change your perspective and significantly reduce perceived stress. Sleep quality is also crucial for brain and cardiovascular health. During deep sleep, the brain eliminates toxins accumulated throughout the day, including proteins that can contribute to neurodegenerative diseases. In addition, chronic sleep deprivation is associated with an increased risk of hypertension, insulin resistance, and systemic inflammation, all of which are risk factors for stroke. Creating a relaxing bedtime routine, keeping your bedroom dark and cool, and avoiding screens, television, cell phone, computer, at least an hour before bedtime are practices that can significantly improve the quality of your sleep. Do you see how all these recommendations are interconnected? Proper nutrition, hydration, regular exercise, stress management, and quality sleep work in synergy to protect your brain and heart. It's a holistic approach that respects the complexity and wisdom of your body. It's not about following a strict diet or making drastic changes, but rather incorporating sustainable practices that you can maintain over time. And speaking of sustainable practices, I want to address the issue of consistency versus perfection. We often feel discouraged when we can't perfectly follow all health recommendations. Maybe you have a particularly stressful week and end up not moving as much as you'd like, or maybe you eat less healthy foods during a family celebration. This is completely normal and part of life. The important thing is not to let these temporary deviations turn into giving up. Consistency over time is much more important than occasional perfection. Every healthy meal, every walk, every night of restorative sleep counts and contributes to your long-term health. Have you ever stopped to think about how deeply emotional our relationship with food is? Many of us grew up in a time when food was not only nutrition, but also comfort, celebration, and social connection. These emotional associations can make dietary changes challenging, even when we know they are necessary for our health. If you find yourself turning to certain foods when you are anxious, sad, or lonely, know that you are not alone. This awareness is the first step toward developing a healthier relationship with food. One approach that can help is mindful eating. Instead of eating automatically or distractedly, try to give your meals your full attention. Notice the colors, textures, and aromas of the food. Chew slowly and savor each bite. Pay attention to your body's hunger and satiety cues. This practice not only improves digestion and nutrient absorption, but also helps us develop a healthier and more mindful relationship with food. Do you feel that your current diet is truly nourishing your body and mind? Have you noticed how certain foods seem to affect your mood, energy, or mental clarity? Share your experience in the comments. Your story may inspire other women to pay more attention to the relationship between food and well-being. We are all learning together, and every shared experience is valuable. Now, let's get back to the issue of bananas and potassium. As I mentioned earlier, the problem is not the banana itself, but rather excess potassium, especially for women with impaired kidney function. If you love bananas and don't have significant kidney or cardiovascular problems, you can probably consume them in moderation, perhaps limiting yourself to half a banana a day. It is also important to be aware that there are many other foods rich in potassium, such as sweet potatoes, spinach, avocados, and beans. The key is balance and variety in your diet, avoiding excesses of any specific nutrient. A common question is about potassium supplements. Many women, upon hearing about the benefits of potassium for cardiovascular health, resort to supplements without proper guidance. This can be extremely dangerous, especially for us mature women. Excess potassium from supplements is much riskier than that obtained through food, as our bodies cannot regulate its absorption as efficiently. Always consult a healthcare professional before starting any supplementation, especially minerals such as potassium. What about sodium? There is an important relationship between sodium, salt, and potassium in our bodies. These two minerals work in balance to regulate blood pressure and muscle and nerve function. The problem is that most of us consume much more sodium than potassium, which upsets this delicate balance and can contribute to hypertension. Reducing consumption of processed foods, which are usually loaded with salt, and moderately increasing intake of foods naturally rich in potassium, without overdoing it, can help restore this balance. Another frequent question is about artificial sweeteners and their impact on cardiovascular health. Recent studies have suggested that certain artificial sweeteners may negatively affect the gut microbiota, which in turn may increase systemic inflammation and contribute to cardiovascular problems. In addition, some observational studies have found associations between regular consumption of diet drinks and an increased risk of stroke in older women. Although more research is needed, it may be prudent to limit consumption of these products and opt for natural alternatives, such as a small amount of honey or fruit to sweeten beverages and foods. Speaking of gut microbiota, did you know that the health of your gut is closely linked to the health of your brain and heart? The so-called gut-brain connection is a fascinating area of research that has revealed how the trillions of bacteria that inhabit our gut influence our mental, cognitive, and cardiovascular health. A healthy and diverse gut microbiota produces anti-inflammatory compounds and neurotransmitters that positively affect brain and cardiovascular function. Eating fiber-rich foods such as fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and legumes feeds the beneficial bacteria in the gut. Fermented foods such as plain yogurt, kefir, and sauerkraut are also excellent for gut health. A question many women ask me is about red wine and its supposed cardiovascular health benefits. It is true that resveratrol, a compound found in red wine, has antioxidant properties and may benefit blood vessel health. However, these benefits are seen with very moderate consumption, at most 1 small glass per day, and do not outweigh the risks associated with regular alcohol consumption, especially for women. Alcohol can increase the risk of breast cancer, negatively affect sleep quality, and, in some women, raise blood pressure. If you do not currently drink alcohol, there is no reason to start drinking for health benefits. There are many other ways to protect your heart and brain without the risks associated with alcohol. Many women also ask me about dark chocolate and its cardiovascular health benefits. The good news is that chocolate with a high cocoa content, 70% or more, contains flavonoids that can improve blood vessel health, lower blood pressure, and reduce inflammation. A small square of dark chocolate a day can be a pleasurable and beneficial addition to your diet. However, it is important to choose chocolates with a high cocoa content and low sugar content, and to consume them in moderation, as they are still a high-calorie food. I would also like to address the importance of social connections for brain and cardiovascular health. Studies have consistently shown that people with strong social ties have a lower risk of cognitive decline, depression, and cardiovascular disease. Social isolation, on the other hand, is considered a risk factor as significant as smoking or obesity. At our age, it is common to face challenges that can lead to isolation, such as the loss of loved ones, retirement, or mobility issues. Making a conscious effort to maintain and cultivate meaningful relationships, whether in person or through technology, is a valuable investment in your brain and cardiovascular health. Before we conclude, I want to talk about the importance of advocating for your own health. Many women of our generation were taught not to question authority, especially doctors. However, it is essential that you be an active participant in your health decisions. Ask questions, ask for explanations, seek second opinions when necessary, and share your concerns and experiences. You have lived in your body for decades and know its peculiarities better than anyone else. That wisdom is valuable and deserves to be respected. If a healthcare professional does not take your concerns seriously or does not respond adequately to your questions, do not hesitate to find another one who will. If you identified with what we talked about today and would like to continue discovering natural ways to protect your brain and cardiovascular health, I invite you to subscribe to our channel. Every week, I share discoveries, techniques, and solutions that have helped thousands of women like you reduce their risk of stroke and other serious conditions without relying on aggressive treatments or medications with significant side effects. Just click on the subscribe button below. It costs nothing, but it could be the first step toward a new phase of well-being and vitality in your life. And by activating the bell, you will be notified whenever we have new information that could make a difference in your brain and cardiovascular health. We are on this journey together, and every week I want to be here, talking to you, providing answers and support for your most important questions about how to live a long, healthy, and fulfilling life. To conclude our conversation today, I want to leave you with an important thought. Your health is not determined solely by your genetics or age, but mainly by the choices you make every day. Every nutritious meal, every moment of movement, every relaxation practice, every night of restorative sleep, and every meaningful social connection is an investment in your brain and cardiovascular health. And it's never too late to start. The human body has an incredible capacity for regeneration and healing when we give it the proper nutrients and care. Remember that small, consistent changes often bring the most lasting results. It is not necessary to completely transform your life overnight. Start with 1 or 2 changes that seem most accessible and enjoyable to you, and gradually incorporate others. Maybe it's adding more berries to your diet, or starting a daily walking routine, or establishing a relaxing bedtime routine. The important thing is to start and stay consistent. And if you encounter challenges along the way, be kind to yourself. Remember that you are doing the best you can with the information and resources you have available. Celebrate every small step forward and don't criticize yourself for the inevitable obstacles. We are all learning and growing, regardless of our age. Before we say goodbye, I would like to hear about your experiences and questions. Have you noticed any relationship between your diet and your cardiovascular or brain health? Are there any specific foods that you feel affect your blood pressure or overall well-being? Share in the comments so we can learn from each other. And if you found this information useful, don't forget to like this video and share it with other women who could benefit from this guidance. Together, we can create a community of mature, wise, and healthy women who support each other on their wellness journey. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Your health is precious, and you deserve all the information and support you need to live your golden years with vitality, mental clarity, and joy. See you in the next video, where we will continue to explore natural and effective ways to take care of our health. Until then, remember, you are wise, strong, and deserve all the attention and care in the world. A warm hug.